All right, good news for XRP and crypto from US House Financial Services Committee. And that's our news from Times Tabloid on this video. Now, could a single meeting in New York finally free XRP? Imagine the entire global financial system trying to run an ultra marathon, but every runner has their shoes tied together by outdated laws written before the internet was even invented. That is exactly what the cryptocurrency market has been dealing with for years. But a massive piece of breaking news just hit the wire that could completely untie those laces for XRP. The U.S. House Committee on Financial Services has officially scheduled a major congressional field hearing right in the heart of the financial world, and that's on New York. This high stakes event is locked in for July 17, 2026, and it carries a title that says it all: Building the Future of Finance: How the Clarity Act Unlocks Innovation. This isn't just another routine government update. This announcement, which was recently spotlighted by crypto commentator BankXRP on X right here, signals signals that digital assets are getting their most important moment in Congress yet. If you are holding XRP, this specific New York event could be the exact moment the traditional financial world is forced to look at the asset ledger in a completely new light. So let's break down exactly what is happening behind closed doors and what this means for the market. So let's start with our very first question about why is Congress taking the Clarity Act directly to the Wall Street. The decision to hold this hearing as a field event in New York City is a highly deliberate political and economic move. This event falls directly under the Subcommittee on Digital Assets, Financial Technology, and Artificial Intelligence, chaired by Brian Stale. By leaving Washington, D.C., and bringing the discussion directly to the doorstep of the world's largest institutional players, Congress is sending a massive signal. So here's my opinion. I see this New York field hearing as a direct power play by the House to force Wall Street's hand. They aren't just talking to politicians anymore. They are pitching the Clarity Act directly to the hedge funds, asset managers, and banking giants who control trillions of dollars. It is a brilliant way to build immense public and financial pressure on the legislative process. When the biggest financial hub on earth demands clear rules, the remaining holdouts in government are forced to listen. Now, will CFTC take full control of XRP? To understand why this hearing matters so much, we have to look at the core architecture of the Digital Asset Market Clarity Act itself. This bill completely reshapes the regulatory landscape by cleanly dividing oversight between SEC and the CFTC. Under this legislation, digital commodities like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP would be permanently removed from the SEC's erratic enforcement style and placed securely under the jurisdiction of the CFTC. Now, here's my opinion. Codifying XRP as a digital commodity under federal statute is the absolute holy grail for long-term market stability. It replaces years of costly lawsuits and legal gray areas with a permanent, unbreakable framework written into federal law. For any serious participant in the market, removing the threat of arbitrary classification changes is exactly what turns a highly volatile asset into a trusted global utility tool. Now, why is the crypto community split on this announcement? Despite the magnitude of the news, the reaction across the XRP community has been deeply divided. When BankXRP shared the update, it immediately sparked intense debates on social media. While many see it as a massive progress, a large group of onlookers expressed deep skepticism, with some questioning why the House needs to hold an explanatory event just to pressure the Senate to act. Others even called the event pointless, noting that the bill's actual fate relies entirely on a final Senate vote. Now, here comes my opinion. I completely understand the frustration and skepticism radiating from the community right now. For years, crypto participants have watched goalposts move over and over again, closely mimicking the multi-year delays seen in previous legal battles. It feels like a movie we've already watched too many times. However, dismissing this hearing as a pointless is a mistake. In the world of policy, visible momentum is everything, even if the legislative clock is ticking slowly. Keeping this bill at the absolute forefront of public discussion prevents it from being quietly buried in a congressional drawer. Now, the next question is, can the Senate find 60 votes before the August recess? The legislative journey of the Clarity Act has been a wild ride. It successfully passed the full House track in July 2025, and on May 14, 2026, the Senate Banking Committee advanced its own version with a solid 15-9 vote. It is now officially sitting on the full Senate legislative calendar. While initial timelines targeted a presidential signing by July 4, that deadline has almost arrived, pushing lawmakers like Senator Cynthia Lummis to aggressively lobby for a full floor vote before Congress heads into its August recess. Alright, now here comes my opinion. The real battleground right now isn't the House, it's the Senate floor. To defeat the filibuster and pass this law, the bill needs to secure exactly 60 votes. Alright? 60 votes, which means it must win over roughly 7 additional Democratic senators. So my take on this is that the July 17 field hearing is designed to act as the ultimate catalyst to capture those remaining votes. By showing a united front right before the August recess, proponents of the bill are making it incredibly difficult for opposing senators to block progress without facing severe backlash from the financial tech sector. Now, what are the remaining blockades holding back the bill? Even with incredible momentum, the path forward is not completely clear of obstacles. There are still unresolved issues backstage, specifically surrounding a strict ethics provision tied to potential cryptocurrency conflicts of interest among regulators. Because leadership has not officially pinned down a date for the full floor vote, the entire market is left watching the clock as the summer deadline fast approaches. Now, here's my opinion. These last-minute hurdles in ethics debates are typical political speed bumps, but they shouldn't distract us from the bigger picture. The House is completely ready. The industry is ready. The market infrastructure is entirely built. The Senate remains the final variable in this equation. The unresolved conflict of interest clauses are minor details that can be ironed out, provided the political will is strong enough. This July meeting will showcase that the economic will is definitely there. Finally, here comes our overall conclusion. When you look at the entire chessboard, the upcoming congressional field hearing this July 17, 2026 represents far more than just another political discussion. It is a strategic deployment of regulatory progress right into the capital of global finance. By showcasing how the Clarity Act removes structural barriers Congress is actively laying down the tracks for massive institutional capital to safely enter the digital asset market. While the skepticism from every participant is completely justified given the history of bureaucratic delays, the structural reality has changed. The division of power between the SEC and the CFTC is no longer just a hopeful theory. It is an active piece of legislation sitting directly on the Senate calendar with a massive cheering section from both sides of the aisle. The House has done its job. Wall Street is watching, and the next few weeks leading into the August recess will likely determine the regulatory destiny of XRP for the next decade. So keep your eyes on the live stream on July 17. Ignore the short-term noise and watch the actual structure change. And this finally ends our video. Thank you very much for watching and see you on the next one, or you might just as well check this recommended video right here.